all, welcome to Lab 3, IPv6 addressing and also the IP routing. I'm Dr. Tan, so I will going to guide you step by step how you're going to complete this Lab 3. So basically on the Lab 3, you have to study the IP addressing and also the IP routings basis topic before you're going to continue on this Lab 3. So on the class, we have explored what actually is a IP addressing, and then how you're going to assign the IP address, the calculations there, and also what is a basis IP routing example for the direct static and also the default routes there. So on this lab, we will going to familiar ourselves on how actually you're going to configure the IP address on the interface. Then how, why we need a loopback. What is the functions of the loopback interface? And then you also will going to explore the direct routes, how they're going to generate, and how you're going to configure the static routes, and understand the conditions for the static route to take effect, and also to test the connectivities lah. Okay, using a ICMP protocol, that means you're using a ping and also the tracer. And also lastly, how to configure the static route and understands their application scenario. So basically the same things, we were going to using a topology on this lab. This time we were going to involve a 3 router. Router 1, 2, 3 are the gateway, okay, for the networks, and you need to configure this gateway to connect this network. So this is the topology that we need to build up, involve a 3 router there. Okay, so before we go into start the lab configurations, so basically what you were going to do on this lab, you were going to assign the IP address for each of the routers or each of the interface of the routers, and then you were going to configure the static routes to interconnect the router. So let us kickstart our lab. So again, you need to open a ENSP and open a new topology on that. Then you can go into create the routers. Okay, select a 3 routers. Okay, 1. You can put second router and the third router. Okay. So this one you are going to rename it as a router 2. Okay, you can go into refer back. What actually we want to do it. Okay, you can go into refer back the routers that you need to do the setup on here. Okay, then you going to open your ENSP again, then you're going to draw on it. Okay, we need to build up a 3 router. So this one we name it as a router 1. Okay, router 2 and also the router 3. Maybe I can go into move here so that later on easier for me to refer back. Okay, so this one router 3. Then you're going to select a cables. Okay, you can select a coppers. Then you're going to connect for the first one. You select is a G00. You connect to a Z00. Okay, the second one you connect to a G002. Connect to a Z002. So on here you can connect to a G002. Connect to a G00. Maybe you can put 1. Okay, just make sure later on you be aware which of the, you can go into not necessarily follow the port number here, but make sure when you're going to do the labeling, it will be using the same IP address so that you can follow the lab sections. Okay, so this one I just going to put here so that you're not going to confusing. Okay. While we are going to continue, you can just select all the router and then you start your router first, device first. Okay, so the next step we were going to do, okay, first one, you were going to complete the basic device configurations. You need to name your device. Okay, so on here, basically, we were going to name it. Example for the router 1, maybe here better you rename it as your 2-1, your normal metric. Okay, so that when you're going to submit, we know actually you are the one who doing it. So you're just going to put your full metric number, student metric number, and then you put the dash there lah. So example, I just put 2, 3 lah, but you're going to put the real number. Okay, your real metric number. Okay, so now you change my device already changed to green color, right? So I can go into create the CLI, then it will going to show all the running. So the first step, they ask you to dename your device. So again, recall back for the lab 2, how you going to dename your device. You have to using a 6 name. So first thing, you have to enter a system view. So you name it 6 name. So here example, I name it as a true tree. I name it as a router 3. So because here is a router 3, so I name it as a router 3. So maybe you can put it at the sequence so that you're not confusing lah. So now I going to move to the second router. The same things, enter a system view, 6 name. So I name it as a BI, your normal metric, and also a router 2. Okay, so same, I go to the router 3, I put it as a sys. I already entered the system, sorry. So I just going to type the system name. So I name it your normal metric and also your router 3. Okay, so now you already name it router 3, router 1, sorry. System view 6 name. So actually just now router 3 I already named it. I did not realize. BI23. So this one I name it as a router 1. Okay, make sure you follow the labeling router 1, router 2, and also the router 3. Okay, so now you complete your first, name the devices. Okay, so now before we going to do others configurations, let's us going to explore how actually the IP address of the current interface. So you were going to using a display IP interface brief to see, okay, to view the current status of your interface there. So you will go into types, display, IP, interface, brief. Okay, so on here, basically you are going to look in example. Now I'm under the router 3. Right, I going to using a router 3 command. So you can open back your this one. So router 3, basically I have a two, I'm using a 2 port, physical port, G00 and G002. So you looking back on here. So G00, the physical, it should be up lah, because we already start the device and do the cabling. And G002 also is a up status. But G001, we did not plug in the cable, so it should be the port physical, it should be a null. And we did not assign any IP address yet. Okay, and also set up the protocol. Okay, so this one is how you're going to view the current interface informations lah. Okay, the next one, you also, this one they were going to explain to you lah, what actually the informations that you can go into view. So basically it's your IP address, subnet mask, your physical status, your link layer protocol, and also the number of the interface in different state. Okay, so also you can, before you go into this one, view IP interface brief, if you going to view the current status of your interface. You also can go into view the IP routing. So this one you have to using display IP routings table. Okay, so it will going to show, okay, under this protocol tree. So you have a loopback, okay, or it's a direct. So normally on here, you were going to notice that they were going to generate a one network address and also a broadcast address there. Okay, so you did not, because you still, it should be only have this loopback lah, because you still did not assign any IP address yet. Okay, you can go into view on it. So remember, loopback 0 is a default loopback interface. So most of the time, loopback interface you are using a 127001. Okay, 127001. 127.0.0.1 is a default. Okay. So the next one, we need to configure the IP address for each of the interface based on this IP address assigned. So most of the times, you will going to type it on, put it under your topology to facilitate the configurations. Okay, so you can go into looking on here on the router 1 G00. You can go into remark what address the IP address that you want to assign. So here we follow is a 13.1 subnet mask 24. Okay, you put it as a IP address for the port G00, 10.13.1, then you can go into continue on here, the ports. So here you're using a 10.12.1 subnet mask 24. Okay, then you continue again on the router true. So you will go into using a 10.0.12.2 subnet mask 24. Okay, the same things you were going to using on your G001. So this one 10.0.22.2 subnet mask 24 router 2. So this one you were going to using the same 10.0.23.3 subnet mask /24. Okay, then this one you were going to using G00 for the router 3. Okay, you were going to using is a 10.0.13.3 subnet mask 24. Okay, this one it will going to help you lah. Is you can put above or you can put below lah. It depends on your own preferences there. Okay. So this is the IP address that we were going to assign to each of the port. Okay, so now you can go into continue again. Okay, to assign the IP address, to configure the IP address for the interface on here. So here is quite straightforward how you're going to assign. Okay, we were going to do it together. So you just open your topology there. Then you open your configurations. Maybe I can zoom it. Okay, now you go back to your router 1. Okay, so you routers 1, remember you were going to enter the interface view. So now you are under the user view, enter a system view. So in the system view, you go for a interface. So now example, we want to set for the G00, assign the IP address 10.0.13.1. So you just going to type the interface G00 0, 0. Okay, enter the interface first. Then you're going to assign the IP address 10.0.13.1. So subnet mask 24. Okay, so again, always after you already assign the IP address, you can go into display this to see whether you assign correctly the IP address or not. Okay, so here 10.0.13.1 subnet mask is a 24, so no issue. So now you quit the G00 interface view. You enter. Now the second one we were going to do is a G002. So you were going to enter interface G002. Okay, then you going to assign the IP address 10.0.12.1 /24. Okay, again, you can go into verify display this. So you are going to recheck again 10.0.12.1 subnet mask 24. So now you already done to assign the IP address for the router 1 because you only have a interface G00 and G002. So now you move to a router 2. Okay, again, enter a system view. From the system views, you go in to enter your interface. Now I will going to assign a G002. Okay, that means I'm here, G002. So I assign IP address 10.0.12.2 subnet mask 24. Okay, so you can check again, display this, so you can check 10.0, 12.2, so subnet mask is 24. Then you're going to quit the interface, you enter another G001. Sorry. So router 2, I forgot to enter G001. Okay, so now you assign the IP address 10.0.22.2 subnet mask 24. So display this. But if you are already do it very familiar already, so always you can check back your commands lah. Okay, 10.0.23.2. So answer is you have done. Okay, for both G00 and also the 001. Okay, or you can also go back, quit it, you go back on here, display the current configurations lah. So you can go into looking on each of the port G001. Okay, I have assigned for the 22.3 and G002, I have assigned 12.2. You also can check in like that. So you can go into enter a quit. Okay, then you move to the router 3. Okay, so under the router 3, you will going to enter again system view. From the system view, you enter your interface. So now the interface we do is a G00. I will make it as a 10.023.3. So you G002. Okay, you assign IP address 10.0.23.3, subnet mask 24. 10.0.23.3 subnet 24. Okay, then you also can quit, then enter the interface for the G000A. 00. Okay, then you assign IP address 10.0.13.3.24. Okay, so you can go into quit it and you can go into check display current configurations. So you can go into check whether the IP address that you have assigned, you are under the G00. So you assign is a 10.0.13.3 on G002. So you assign is a 10.0.23.3. So you have done the this step. Okay, how you going to assign configure the IP address. Okay, so now you already do the configurations. You want to check whether they can go into ping each others. So in the routers one, you can go into ping the opposite one. Okay, that means on the routers one, okay, maybe let me show you. Router one, okay, router one, you can go into pings the router 2 using the 10.12.2. Okay, so you just going to open, go back to your router 1. Okay, you're going to quit. So you're going to do the ping 10.0.12.2. So you are going to see you are able to reach out. Okay, and also the router 1, the same things, router 1, you can go into ping the 10.13.3. Okay, to see whether your connections is up or not. So you can go into pings 10.0.13.3. Okay, if you get the request times up, that means you are doing some configurations. IP address might be you assigned wrong already lah. Okay, the same things you can go to router 2 to do the ping also lah. Okay, example the router 2. Okay, I can go into ping the 10.0.12.1. You can go on here router 2. I also can go into ping. Where is it? Okay, router 2 example on here, I want to ping back the router 1, it's 10.0.12.1. Okay, so no issues. And router 2, I also can try to ping the router 3 by using ping 10.0.23.3. Okay, you can go into testing. Okay, so now we will going to try, okay, what actually the informations we want to know what actually is the destinations that available for us, the routing tables, the routes available for us to route our package. So you are going to using display IP routing tables. Okay, so go back to here. You can going to type display IP routings tables. Okay, so on here they were going to display you because you already done the configuration, assigns the IP address. So most of the times they were going to generate three types of those IP address. Okay, you're going to reading on here. Okay, so here they say most of the times they were going to generate, bukan most of the times that commands, once you assign the IP address, they were going to generate a three direct routes automatically will be generated for each of the interface after you configure the IP address. So the first one, it will be the route to the network where the interface reside. Okay, so because on here, okay, we are going to using a subnet mask 24. So of course you are going to using a 10.0 then zeros. So because this one is a subnet mask 24. So this one is the first one, a route to the network where the interface reside. Okay, then they will going to another one is your network address, the host route to the interface. So this one is a host route point 1. Okay, then another one it will going to generate to the broadcast address. Okay, so the broadcast it should be a 255 lah. Okay, so every IP address, every interface, they will going to generate. So for this one is a G002. We assign a one IP address, but they will going to generate a three direct routes. So the same things on here, we have a G00, right? So we will also going to generate a three direct routes. So the first one is the network where the host, where the PC, the router one resides. Okay, so it will be 0, subnet mask 24 lah. Okay, another one is the first network address and then the broadcast address. Okay, so you have a two port, okay, three address and three direct routes there. Okay, this is how the direct routes it will go into generate. Okay, the next one we will go into study, explore how actually you're going to create the loopback interface. So you can go into just open again your here. Okay, you can go into types on here what actually the loopback interface for the router ones that you want to use on it. So this one maybe I need to cannot see. Okay, so I look back is a 10.0, okay, 0.1.1. So it's a subnet mask /22. So I just copy because they just difference one. This one loop back for the router one. So you can go into do the loop back for the router 2. So it's a 10.0.2. Okay, then loop back for the router 3. So this one you change it to be a 0.3. Okay, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So the next step, you need to understand why we want to using a loopback. So basically, the loopback most of the times you need to manually configure lah because it's not exit, and most of the time is used for to exchange the data and to support your protocol. So a loopback interface always is up at the physical layer and also the link layer. That means layer 1 and layer 2, unless you manually shut down. So what is the purpose we need a loopback? So most of the times we use it to use as an address for identify and managing your router. And also it will serve as a router ID under the OSPF. On the next week, when we're going to learn the OSPF, we will going to see how actually it can be used to generate your router ID lah, and also to improve the network reliability there. So remember, the loopback always is a 32-bit subnet mask. You don't have a 24-bit subnet mask. Okay, so now the last step, we will going to assign the IP address for each of the, to configure the IP address on each of the loopback interface. So you just go back on here, router 1. So the same things, you will go into, maybe I open here. Okay, you will go into opens your loopback interface. You just going to type loopback 0. So they will going to enter the loopback interface on here. So the same thing is how you're going to assign the IP address to the normal interface lah. So you just going to type the IP address for the router 1 is you assign 1.1. So have a subnet mask 24. So the same things, you can go into display this to see your configurations there lah, whether it's correct or not. Okay, the next step, you will move to the router 2 against to do the loopback. So assign the IP address to the loopback. So enter the loopback interface. Then you assign the IP address 10.0.1.2. So I must 32. Okay, display this to verify again whether it's assigned correctly. Then continue to your router 3. Okay, interface look back A. So you're going to assign IP address 10.0.1.3 subnet mask 32. So display this to confirm back whether you are assigned correctly or not. Okay, so after you configure the loopback, you also understand why you need a loopback and how actually they can be configured. That means you have to manually configure lah, because it cannot be auto generate like a direct root stack. Okay, so you can going to try again to see display IP address. Okay, display IP address on here. You will go into example, I go back to router 1. You also can test on the router 2. So you can go into display IP routings tables. So you will going to look in on here. Basically, they will generate a one direct route under your interface loopback. Okay, so it's a destinations is a 10.1.1, but it's a direct route with a priority preferences is a 0. So now you can try to ping, okay, from your computers, from your router 1 to your loopback. Okay, you can try to ping example on here because my one is 10.0.1.2. So I can try to pin it when I go into determines. Maybe I go back to here. Okay, when I go into ping, the first one is stand for the source. Okay, where is it? I can go into ping to the host. So you go into looking on here. I can go into quits and then under the router 1, I going to define ping. I specify the source from the 0.1.1 from my loopback. I will going to ping it to my next 1.2. So on here, you should not get if you get the can ping the result, that means something wrong lah. You should not able to get it. So remember ping A. Okay, the first one is stand for the source. The second one is stand where the destinations. So basically on this one, we actually are going to ping the source from your loopback. Okay, so why you cannot going to reach out? Because you still did not going to have a route to your destination's IP address. Okay, you still don't have the route to the destinations. Tak ada kan? So you going to look in, you want go for a 10.0.1.2. So still don't have. On these route tables, you don't have. You just have a route go to a 10.0.11, but you don't have a 1.2. So now you need to do a static route to tell them how actually they're going to forward your package. Okay, so you go back to your router 1, you are going to type the IP root static. Okay, now I will going to do for the 10.1.2 subnet mask 32. So they will going to using the 12.2. Okay, so this one you're going to enter. Then I will also tell them the root static 10.0.1.3. They will go 32. Okay, they were using a 10.13.3. Okay, now I already done the roots. So if you cannot understand, you go back to this one. You're looking on here. Okay, 1.2. Okay, is my loopback on here. Okay, I want to reach up a loopback 1.2. I tells my, because just now we want to ping from the router 1. Okay, I want to ping the loopback inside the router 2. Okay, router 1, 10.1.1. So I want to reach out a 1.2, but we cannot pin it because they don't have the routes to send out your package under their IP address, IP routing tables. So that's why here we're going to build we tell them what actually is a static route. We do it and tell them if you want to reach up the 10.0.12, you have to, your next hop, okay, you should go through a 10.0.12.1 on here. Okay, you should go through your destinations. 10.01.2, you should go through this one. Okay, the same things because you have to you were going to reach up the router 3. Okay, 10.01.3 on here, the loopback. So what is your next hop? You were going to using this one, 10.0.13.1. Okay, you go back on here. Okay, so this is how you're going to do the route on that. Then after you done the configurations, you can go into display your IP routing tables to check whether the route is up or not. So on here, because it's a static, recall back from your lectures class. So static routes by default, they have a preferences cost is a 60. Okay, so you were going to see they were going to generate a true routes lah. Okay, when we want to reach up the destinations 1.2. So our next hop is this one. We go through here. Okay, maybe I open again. Okay, when I want to go to a 1.2 router 2, I have to using a G002 at the router 2, my next hop. The same things on here. Okay, when I want to reach up the rootback of the 10.01.3, I have to using a next hop 10.013.3. Okay, with a static root, you build the static root there. Okay, so now next step, you can go into verify lah. Okay, you can go into test whether is working properly or not. Okay, so should be working properly lah because the your IP routing table already have that route. So you just go to ping, okay, -A, you determine where you want to reach up the source, okay, from the 10.0.1.1, okay, and then 10.0.1.2. So this one, why you still cannot? Because you only have a one way under your routes, under your, how to say, under your router 1, but your router 2 you still don't have the look back in the interface R1. So you need to move to your router 2 and do the same things to build up the static route there. Okay, so the same things, you go to system view. Okay, you go into router IP route static. So you assign 10 point, you need to tell them how you return back. Okay, 10.01.1.1. Okay, if you cannot remember 1.1, we will go into the 10.12.1. Okay, you will go into sorry. you are going to go through a 10.0.12.1. Okay, so you're going to, I forgot to put the subnet mask. 32. Okay, so now you already done it. So you can try to ping again under your router 1. So you should able to get back lah, because they can going to return to you. Okay, deploy. Okay, so remember to do it as a reverse recursions, root recursions. Okay, so now the next step, what you're going to do, you are going to build out the others router also lah. You have to go to a router B, so router 2. Then you're going to build out the IP root static. So now you are going to route the router, the loopback for the router 3. So the router 3, again, you were going to using a next hop is a 10.023.3. Okay, 0.23.3. Okay, so you just follow the step by step lah. And then the same things on your router 3, you were going to credits, okay, systems, then you were going to build the IP root static. So go to the loopback router 1 and using a router 1. Okay, loopback router 1 10.001. So the next hop you should go 13.1 from the router 3. Okay, so this one you should go to the 10.0.13.1. Okay, I forgot to put the subnets 32 again. Okay, so this one continue again. You're going to put the static standpoint, go to a router 2 1.2. So you should go to the 10.0.23.2. Okay, now you already done all the loopback. Okay, you configure already. So the next one you have to configure apart from the router 1 to router 2, will a router 3 as the backup. Okay, you want to do the backup. Okay, that means in case you look back on your topology. Now every router we can go into reach up. Example, router 1, we can go into reach up the router 2 directly. Will this next hop 10.0.12.2. But we want to build up a one backup route in case this link, okay, is down. So you still can forward your packets backup from the go to router 3, and from router 3 you go back to your router 2 backup routes. Okay, so from here how you going to do it, you are going to set the preferences higher than a default one. So recall back the static routes. Okay, preferences by default is a 60. So here you're going to make it higher. That means it will be auto change it to be a default one lah. Not default, backup one. So now what you need to do, you have to go back to a router 1. Okay, you tell them I want to do a root static. Okay, 10.0.1.2. Go through a router 2, but I will go into using a 10.0.13.3. Okay, I go through a 1.2 router 2, but I using this link. Okay, I using the go through a next hop is a router 2. Okay, but remember you still need to build another one. Okay, go through a router 2 link on here, this part. Okay, so that's why here you have to put 2. You go back on here, so you enters. I forgot again, put 32. Okay, so the next step you were going to put the IP root statics. So now from your roots, so 10.0.1.1 recursions are. So you were going to 10.32, 10.0.1.2, 23.3. Yeah. So this one, I forgot to set the preferences 100s. So this one, I will going to set it the preferences 100s. Okay, so this one I already modified the root again to set the preferences there. Okay, so after okay, I also do wrong. It should be under the router 2. Okay, so this one, if I doing wrong, I will going to undo. Okay, for this one, it should be under the routers 2. I'm doing wrong because this one 23 is from on router 2, is not on router 1. Okay, so I have to correct it back. So I just undo the IP address lah. Okay, so I can display the IP routings tables to check it. Okay, so now I don't have 10.01.1. I don't have, I just have a direct route only. Okay, so you go into your router 2. So you going to do the router 2 for this one. Okay, so router 2s, you are going to IP route statics. One 32s go to a 10.23.3. So you're using a preferences 100s. Typo static. Did not enter the system view. Okay, so now you already set your IP route static. So you can go back to your router 1 again, and then you try to display your IP routing tables. Okay, on here you were going to see, okay, even those on here we have set up the preferences. I have one static routes is 100s. Okay, but remember on our class, we already mentioned under your routing tables, we only will generate a optimum routes. Okay, because the preferences, lower preferences, it will be more preferable. So the optimum route, of course, they were going to look in on the direct from this router 1 sent to here because their cost is only preference is a 60. Compared to you set up this backup, your preferences is a 100. So they will not be a routes display under your routing tables, even though you already set it. So we want to see the effect. Okay, basically you can go into shut down your interface there lah. Okay, you can go to your router 1, you shut down your interface 0.02. You shut out this one, you are going to see whether the backup routes, it will going to take the effect or not. Okay, so you go router 1, okay, you will go into the interface G002, then you're going to shut down. Okay, after shutdowns, you still quit the interface, you're going to display the IP address routing table. So now you was going to see the routes. Okay, second routes available when I want to reach up the loopback of the 10.01.2. I will going to using a next hop is a router 3, 10.013.3, router 3 on here. Okay, because this link is cannot work already, so they will going to find out the other options with the lower preferences lah, 100s, because by default static is a 60, so 60 is a maximum, not the maximum, the optimums. Okay, so now you can if let's say, okay, you also can go in to follow the configurations on here lah. Okay, to go to the router to display the routes there. Okay, you can go into router to display the IP routings tables. Okay, so you were going to see, okay, whether they were going to generate a routes, okay, to a 10.01.2. Okay, so this one, I think you cannot, is not, you have to shut down also lah. If you want to see, no need to shut down because our link is only doing on the router one. So no need to shut down. You only need to shut down this one. Okay. Okay. In case, let us continue again. Okay. In case the original route becomes invalid and the static route with a lower priority will be activated. So this one is just now what I'm going to show you. Okay, now you can go into test your ping lah. You trying from your router one, you trying to reach up the router two. Okay, from your router one, loop back to reach up the router two. You want to see whether which of the routes whether is accessible or not. Okay, is working or not as what they display under your routing tables. So you just going to ping A 10.0 from the source to your destinations 1.1.2 router to loopback. So you should able to get the deploy on it lah. That means no issues on your configuration step. So the same things if you want to see where is it. Okay, because when I using a ping, I just can go in to see whether my package is able to reach up the destination or not. But in case I want to see whether the package is really go through the path that I going to set it. That means they have to send to a router 3 and router 3 to router 2. So I can using a tracet. Okay, I using a tracet command, ICMP. Okay, it's under the ICMP protocol. So I using a tracet. So I also defines from the source to my destinations. I want to see how actually the package will be forwarded. What actually is the next hop. So the first one you were going to see from your host. Okay, from your on here, from your source. Okay, you were going to next hop is a 10.0, 13.3. That means they go through a router 3. So from the router 3, your next hop, you were going to have a 10.0, 22.2. So it work exactly what actually you have planned as a backup. Okay, so now we go back again. So this is the tracet now for you to track in the path, how actually which of the routes that the package have to from your source to reach out your destinations. Okay, so now here they will ask you, you restore back lah your default routes. You just go back in case now I want to not shut down my interface. So I just go back to my router one. Okay, again I enter my interface G00 and my one is not G003. So now we want to make this link back to normal. So I have to go back to turn on the G002. Okay, interface G002. Undo, shutdown. Okay, so that means it will go into turn on my physical link. So this one, after that, you will go into undo again a static route lah. Okay, of the preferences. They just let you to familiar the commands lah. Once you go into set it, so you make sure you quit the interface, go back to the system view. So you will going to undo your IP routes statics. So 10.0.1.2. So this one is a 255. That means you just need, they just show you another way lah, how you going to type. But most of the times we just type 32. Okay, to a 10.0.12.2 in your router 1. Okay, the same things you were going to undo again IP root statics. So it's the 10.0.1.2 32, so 10.0.13.3. Okay, so after that, you're trying to display your IP routing also. You just follow step by step, okay, to view whether the interface should be up again lah. Okay, your statics 60 there. Okay, it should be up again. So you don't have because you already undo, so that means you actually don't have cannot reach up the router 2. Okay, you have removed it. Okay, so now we want to try again on a default. Okay, remember on the default, you were going to using any network on here, or is a 00. Okay, that means it's for you in case any package, okay, you cannot handle it, so you just going to forward to the default route under your router 1. So how you going to using it? Just the same, still the same, you using the IP route static, just the IP address you were going to put it as a all 0. So this one's animas is also a 0 and 10.0.12.2. I always typo static. Okay, then you can go into display your IP routing tables to see that you will have one destinations whenever you are unknown. So, or you're going to assign to the next hops 10.0.12.2. Okay, so this is how you're going to build up the default routes. Whenever you see the statics destination is all 00, so basically you are doing is a default routes there. Okay, now another's here, they will ask you to do the testing for test the connectivity of your loopback 01 and also the loopback router 2 lah. So this one you can trying to follow the instructions. So you just going to ping set is from the router loopback router 1, okay, to the destinations 1.2. So you should able to get the reply because you already set whenever you want to go to the router loopback. So you have a static direct route there. Okay. So that means any unknown, even you are, why is still able to reach it? Because you looking on here, your 10.01.2 destinations, it actually did not exit under the route here. But because you already set the default one, so everything they were going to forward to a 10.012.2. Okay, so that's why you still able to reach up your loopback because point 2 is on here in this interface. Okay, so that's why you still able to reach up even though here on the router 1 IP address, you already removed the route static. But remember, just now you do a default route there. Okay, any address that not exit under your destination, so your next hop, it will be go to here. So that's why you still able to ping the loopback of the router 2. Okay, so the next step, that's all. We have complete the lab exercise. The verifications, how you going to do it? Basically, you were using the ICMP protocol. You're using a print and also the tracet commands to test your connectivity. And also, if let's say sometimes you are going to not sure whether your configuration is doing correctly or not, you always can refer to their configurations on here lah. So example, you can go into display configurations. So you can go into check. Okay, this one name, make sure don't put R1, you have to put your normal metric. Then you can go into check the interface, enter. Okay, or you can put the space lah if you don't want to enter one by one. Okay, then on the G00, okay, we have a little bit changing for the cable interface, port interface that we use. So you are going to set it 13.1 and also G001 we don't use it, and then Z002 we assign the IP address. Okay, same here. Then you also have a loopback. Okay, and then you configure the default routes and you configure about the static routes to reach up your router tree. Okay, the same things you can go into check your configurations under your router too. So you display configurations. It's under. Okay, it's the same things. You're going to check whether you have the name and then you check lah, the static routes. So you should have a 3 static route there. And also you have assigned the IP address for 2 ports. Okay, the same things you were going to do for your router 3 and do the verifications. So remember, before you close your topology, okay, always you have to save your configurations. Save it. Otherwise, your configurations you have to redo again if missing, you did not save it. So the same things, you go to a router tool, save it. Okay, go back to your router 3. So you're going to save it. Okay, so after you save it, so remember, go to save the topology of your one also lah. So you can go into save it as a lab 3. Okay, just save it. Okay, so you can go into submit it, zip the file and submit to the ITL system for me to check it lah. Okay, so before we end up, we go to checking on the quiz here. So in what situations, okay, the question is asking in what situations will configure the static route be added to the IP routing tables? Can a route be added to a IP routing table if the configured next hop is unreachable? Okay, so the first question, in what situations will the configured static route be added to the IP routing table? So remember just now we have tried, we trying to change the preferences, okay, to 100. So remember IP routing table always will display only the optimum routes. Okay, if you're going to configure the static routes, but the static routes is not the optimum. Okay, so actually they will not display under your routing tables. So what happened if the configured next hop is unreachable? So if unreachable, that means it is not the routes you should display under your routing table, right? Because you cannot reach up your next hop. So definitely this route will not be added into your routing tables. So in step 3, if the dash A ping argument is not specified during the connectivity test between the loopback, what is the source IP address of the ICMP packets? Why? So if you did not going to define, basically it will base on the interface port, okay, IP address to send out your ICMP there. Okay, it's still able to work, but it will going to base on the port interface IP address. Okay, so that's all for our lab 3. Thank you all and bye bye. See you on lab 4.